Welcome to the HenShow Network. Now, let's kick off today's episode with two main points of discussion. First is, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. There is an interview of this gentleman named Nathan Apffel. I'm horrible at names, so I think that's his name. If you haven't checked it out, it's on Tucker Carlson. It was really fantastic. And Nathan is known for making docu-series that are related to how the new church model is a business model. Well, this will relate further in the video to our previous discussions of how Coleman in the Committee of 300 book has discussed the attacks on Christianity. So if you're curious about when and where I've talked about that, that is in episode 2, but it was removed from TikTok. Of course it was. And so you can check it out on YouTube. The next point of discussion that I have for you all is the update with the AI data center and what is going on, the current news with the Project Taurus, and also the response that I got, which showed all the documentation related to the memorandum for the AI data center that is coming near us, and hopefully not, because the update will inform you more on that. So let's get started. So as I said at the top of the show, if you were not able to watch the interview on Tucker Carlson, you should definitely check it out. If you are a biased individual and you've only listened to the shorts of Tucker, well, you should give it a chance, because this is a time to be informed, not a time to be biased. Everyone has their bias and they're not willing to listen to truth, and that is how the society has stayed ignorant, which we will likely discuss in the next video, because I want to talk about JFK, just not this episode. So something that I noticed in the interview with Tucker Carlson and Nathan was Nathan, how I said, exposing the mega churches and discussing how it's just now this common model where it's like surface level gospel. And I somewhat agree with that. Actually, a lot agree with that. I've actually talked with personal friends on that, and I know someone that maybe eventually one day I can get on here to interview to kind of discuss those thoughts someday, because I do want to also do interviews and not only just be a podcast or a channel where I'm just talking only myself. Next, what he mentioned was the FARA documents. If you don't know what FARA is, which I didn't really know what it stands for, because there's too many acronyms in the army or in the military, whatever it be, and they just always have some kind of shortened version of what this is supposed to stand for. So it means and stands for Foreign Agents Registration Act. And the reason I'm talking about FARA is because Nathan brought up how there is this LLC from California, really from Israel, that is coming to America to advertise and, well, they've pretty much already done it. So advertise and propagandize the American people. Anyway, that FARA document is important because we are in a time where this is happening now. Even though this was a document that was received by the FARA registration on September 27th of 2025. Now, the articles, the earliest one that I was able to find relating to this FARA propaganda, Christian propaganda, where they're trying to change the minds of Christians and actually persuade you. This is a $3.2 million outreach and digital advertising campaign led by a San Diego firm, as I mentioned, California. The earliest one I've seen so far was posted on October 4th of 2025. Really what I'm trying to discuss, though, is the importance on the churches and how this FARA document affects churches and the people that we thought were actually for the Christian movement, and maybe they're doing good things in the public sector, such as Tim Tebow, but then he's listed on this document as one of the people willing to support this movement. Maybe he's unaware. I will give the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes people just don't have time to read 85 or 87 pages of a document with a lot of words on it. It's just time consuming. So this, like I said, the FARA document was received on September 27th, and you can see it on the FARA document itself. You can also see that there is a man named Chad. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. You see it for yourselves. So Chad is from California as well. I was able to find him, a picture of him from a Christian Post article, as you can see here. There is also a photo of him and his X account as well. And I just wanted to confirm that this was the same guy we're talking about, and I do believe that that is accurate. As you can see on his X account, it says that he is a fan of rational policy, a critic of those who do not correlate cause and effect. I live my life fighting for my belief system. Obviously so, because he's willing to be signing off on this document. So what is his belief system? We should get into that further in future videos. So I want to note here that California seems to be the hub for so much corruption, scandals, or even open view corruption, which was mentioned also in the Committee of 300 book by John Coleman. As I stated, he said that in the intelligence agency, it's just already known that people are going to do their corrupt deeds or their scandals out in open view, and that's how you do it, kind of like in plain sight, out of mind, instead of out of sight, out of mind, in sight, out of mind, kind of, which works for both, because, you know, sometimes your phone will be right in your face and then bam, you can't even see it, or you forget you're holding it. So right in plain sight. So California seems to be just a hub for corruption in many states and administration. So not just only calling out California. I'm sure there will be many states in the future where this is happening, but I was recently exposed to this video of this guy who was exposing some of the fraud with the gas tax that is mandated for California. As you can see here,
California stole $928 million from you. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic. $928 million is gone. Taken from your gas tank, your electric bill, and your wallet. Now I'm going to tell you exactly where it went and who took it. Every time you fill up your gas tank in California, you pay an extra $2 per gallon. That is cap and trade. That's the hidden tax Newsom snapped on you. Now, you're told that the money goes to green energy, solar panels, clean air, saving the planet. And that's the pitch. But here's the reality. $1 billion of your cap and trade money went to a nonprofit called Grid Alternatives. Have you ever heard of him?
He is explaining his experience with trying to find these companies where over a 10-year time span has collected over $1 billion, and they are saying that it's to better California, but when they go, it actually seems similar to what's happening with Nick Shirley, how Nick Shirley was in Minnesota going to these nonprofits, and then when he'd show up, no one's there. He's trying to contact the supposed phone numbers on the door, and then when the person shows up, they seem very defensive and not willing to answer any questions, almost like we're automatically the police when we're just simply asking them questions. And then this was similar, what was happening to this man. And I am bringing these up just because it seems like, as that Chad guy is from California or staying there, not sure whichever is the case, but Chad is the one who signed off on the document, and he is currently in or residing near California. So this FARA document, I actually heard about it first from Candace Owens. Yes, from Candace Owens. I am a fan of hers. If you're not, again, as I said at the top of this episode, you should give it a chance. This is not a time to just be 100% biased, as obviously the enemies are not the people speaking their minds. The enemies are the ones trying to manipulate our minds. So I hope that you will give what I have to say an opportunity and at least hear it out, considering I believe what she says is fact. And the majority of the time, even if it's opinion, it's a very evidence-based opinion, and I want to do similar things with this channel. Anyway, she is actually the first person who brought this FARA document to my attention. I thought it was so compelling when she showed it on her channel, and she was just scrolling through the list, and Colorado has so many, and I was shocked, and I was like, oh no, I hope I'm not going to one of these churches. They're gonna track my phone and break into all my stuff. It's crazy. And as you can see on page 33, that is actually where the list of the churches who are involved in this start to be shown. And it starts with Arizona, then goes to Colorado. And honestly, I was a little surprised to not see Zeal Church, which is a giant mega church here, or I should just say it is a mega church here in Colorado. But I'm happy to see that they aren't on the list, because I am actually enjoying what they are doing, and their services seem well for the most part, so they're in the clear for now. So are the churches not on the list for now, but maybe there's going to be another scandal in the future where there's another LLC, because there's all these shell companies, as I don't know if you've seen recently, but there is this video of Mossad agents who are on 60 Minutes deliberately saying that they run the show, like the world is their stage, quote, is what they say. This seems like this is one of those instances where the world is their stage, and they said that they have many shell companies, and they have so many shell companies that you can't figure out it's even them, and you don't know, and the guy's all masks up, and I'm sure that he has a voice changer thing on. But anyway, as Nathan explained in the video, it can be a superficial gospel, and then they ask you to tithe. So I'm kind of circling it back around so that we can complete the idea of the conversation with this topic and then move on to the next. But Nathan was describing how, again, they're just trying to manipulate our minds. They are doing the same thing in a way when it comes to the tithing, because there was this story of a child who was being propagandized from his church to even tithe from his allowance money. Now that is a bit much. Yeah, and I just think that you can tithe with skills. Churches seem to mainly be focused on like the money aspect, but I actually really admire, I visited a church recently. It is called the Cure Church in Lawrence, and it was actually really well, and when they did offer up the tithe, they were not only focusing on money, and I do believe that they said it scripturally and biblically that it is an opportunity for you to be generous, and the Lord wants you to be generous. So I really love when churches do that, and I want to give an opportunity for you to hear what Nathan had to say about the child and how he was being manipulated to give the money. Take a listen.
These pastors looked to the Old Covenant, the Old Testament, and said, hey, like the Levites were asking for 10% or demanding 10% based off the Mosaic Law, so we should ask for 10%. And it baked in this legalistic demand from your congregation. And then, hey, if you don't tithe, Tucker, to me, you're a bad boy. The Bible says to tithe. But when you look at the New Testament, remember Paul was a Pharisee's Pharisee.
Yes.
He was the man who knew the law better than anybody. So Paul wrote a bulk of the modern New Testament. So if Paul expected you to tithe, you better believe he would have said in his epistles, hey, Tucker, you're going to tithe to your body and then we're going to distribute it. He didn't say that. Christ never said that. Instead, it was free will generosity. So Tucker, you're going to give from the desire and passion of your heart. And you're not going to know what your left hand is doing or your right hand is doing, because we don't want you to basically build systems on top of this generosity. And the crazy part about the New Testament generosity is when these early churches would pool resources, it would always go to poorer gatherings, to poorer communities. They weren't insulating themselves and building corporations. They were just distributing it wherever there was a need. And so what the tithe has done is, in the last 200 years, is it's given a fixed revenue stream to an institution, to a tradition we've built on top of Christ. And now that I was taught tithing from childhood. Now that we've been taught this tithing model, it'd be really bad for them to go, hey, actually the tithe really isn't biblically accurate. We need you just to be generous. And here, this is a fun one, or it's not fun. It's very sad. Someone sent me this, and it's a slip that a child brought home. And so this was going to I think the child was between 10 or 14 years old. And this is what they were taught in their youth group. My commitment, I am expanding my generosity to multiply by committing to the following over the next year. So Tucker, you're a 12-year-old boy, ready? You're going to tithe, Tucker, 10% from your allowance. This is on the sheet, ready? You're going to give a percentage of your birthday money or Christmas money to the church. You're going to earn money, yard work, etc. And specifically, you're going to do that for multiplication. And then here's the other, ready? You're going to sell some of your electronics. You're going to take clothes to a resale shop, and you're going to give a portion of your savings to the church. This went to a little kid. And at the bottom, you're going to add it all up and tell this church what your total commitment is.
In writing.
In writing. That went to a child.
That is wild.
Where is any of that scriptural?
I am discussing this because all of this, from mega churches to FARA documents intentionally targeting Christians, is exactly the attacks that we speak of, and so does John Coleman in the book. As I mentioned, he stated that there is, and it's still proving today to be true, that the attack on Christianity is still very much active today. And his book, again, was published in 1992. Now, on to the next topic, the AI data center. And as I stated at the top of this episode, that I would provide an update on the AI data center that is coming to Colorado Springs and the experience and the response that I got from the CORA request. And I will show that documentation here, some of it, because honestly, it just seems like it's 15 pages of a lot of nothing. Also, what I found the most important is that there is no financial analyses or estimates in that document. So it's like, okay, if the city council is willing to accept the backlash from the public, considering this is extremely unpopular, and unpopular not only in this city, but all around the country. So why and what would incentivize them to bring this to the city and actually approve it anyway? And as I mentioned in another one of the videos that I did, that Daniel Saxon was the person to sign off on it. Well, I do believe that this documentation shows that this to be true. It also shows you the emails of the other people that he was CCing or even sending the messages to on this memorandum. And I think it's important to consider that even the head of the Colorado Springs of Utility, Travis, is on going around and having speeches about it, and he's also in this list. So it seems like, okay, they're already in cahoots with the Colorado Springs Utility Department, and then they've already made deals prior. So they've already accepted, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this, but we're just gonna fight the public on it. And that's really how it seems. And that seems to be the case in even Utah. Like, as I showed in the previous video, they're protesting and trying to fight these AI data centers coming. There's actually another one coming in DeSoto, Kansas. So it's just, they're trying to build them as fast as possible and hurry up this infrastructure. So once they're already built, it's so hard to get them to stop being built. The good news is that 6 appeals were sent in to the city, and 5 of them are accepted as appeals, so they will be furthering down the process, and there will be a hearing about it sometime in July, but it doesn't really specify what time. And of course, it always seems to be that way, like, oh yeah, let's make it last minute so no one knows where to go or when to go, or can't pre-plan, or cancel work or anything because it's like the week of. And so yeah, or even 2 weeks, sometimes it's not enough of a notice. But it should be open to the public. The address and where it's supposed to be located as of yet is the Regional Development Center, and the address for that is 2880 International Circle. I think it's important to follow this. If you're not, look in your local area and follow it. But if you're not able to show up in person, or if you weren't able to appeal in your local area, I do have some information for you for where you can go and still make a difference in your area or wherever you're at, because there is this website called change.org, and there are a lot of petitions on there. You can look for petitions related to AI data centers or something near your area, and you can see how many people have already signed the petitions. And I really love this idea because it is a way that people can actually use technology to be in our advantage. Instead, usually the technocrats are wanting us to be addicted to the phones, and it's like, okay, well, let's be addicted to the phones in a way that actually is gonna support and help the issues within our communities. So I hope you find that information useful. I did, and I'm going to continue to look at it because you actually can comment on there and read the comments. So it's almost like a petition YouTube, kind of. It's really cool. I hope you'll check it out. I will leave a link in the description, but really I don't need to, because you can just literally type change.org and that will pop up. So lastly, for all you pessimists out there, because if you don't want to get involved, or you're thinking, oh, mind you, I have put my information into 4 or 5 petitions now. I have not got any scams. None of my information has been hacked. It seems safe to me, and I've trusted it so far, and so has thousands of other people too. As you can see, that there's been thousands of people signing these petitions. Anyway, so for all you pessimists out there, a wise man once said, everyone in this audience needs to vote. There is no good reason not to vote. Even if you have questions about how your vote is tabulated and how it is counted, not voting is a guarantee that your vote won't be counted. True. But voting at least gives you a potential opportunity that you can be in the game and that your vote can be counted. And I say that to every pessimist or cynical person who just thinks that, oh, my vote won't count. Well, it surely won't if you don't. So please get out there, get involved in your community, inform others, motivate your friends to vote. It is important, and we still have a chance to root out the swamp and make a difference. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, follow me on my channels, and thank you for joining the HenShow Network, everybody. And thank you for watching and staying tuned to the HenShow Network. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and always seek wisdom. Bye, guys.
The real glow comes from inside when I don't